as we present here. Thanks, Stephen, and thanks to all of you for taking the time to listen to our Tech Tank pitch here. And thanks to the other companies as well, and good luck to DialSource, Fan Magnet, and Park Hub. Good luck to you in this vertical. For those of you from out of town, welcome to the Pacific Northwest. And before we get rolling on the actual presentation, I want to welcome you in to this arid climate with a few fun facts about Portland. Some of them you may know, some of you may not know all of these fun facts. Portland had the first NHL hockey team and the first American team in the Stanley Cup, the Portland Rosebuds. Portland has more breweries per capita than any other town or metropolitan area in the world, with 76. And last but not least, I know this is something Rocco's interested in, the annual World Naked Bike Ride sets a world record here every year with 13,000 naked bike riding participants. So it's a great place to come and hang out and see some colorful people. And,
keep Portland weird.
Keep Portland weird is the saying around here. We're based up in Seattle, Washington. And just so you get to know Keenan and I a little bit over the next couple of days, we want to introduce ourselves as well. My name's Kelsey Clevenberg. I've been with the company for about 4 years. I'm from Montana originally. We didn't have a professional sports team, so outside of cow tipping, I like to go fishing and hunting, and I'm a Seahawks season ticket holder. And this is my friend and coworker, Keenan Husky, and he'll say a few words about himself, and then we'll get going with the platform.
Hi, folks. Thanks for taking the time and joining us today. So my name's Keenan. I was fortunate enough to grow up on the Upper West Side of Maui, and then I found myself up in the Pacific Northwest for school, where I traded in my surfboard for rugby ball, playing D1 rugby, and failing at public speaking. So thank you.
Keenan said, Kelsey, there's literally nothing I would rather do less than join you up on stage today. I'd rather hop out the window here. So if he makes it through this okay, it'll be a big win for him. What's up with this company? It's got a weird name, Wind Zipper. I say zip like zipper, whip like whipped cream. I didn't name the company. But we're actually a real company. We're 50 strong and growing. You can see a picture of our team from Friday. We had a gray out where we all wear our Zipwhip hoodies. And we like to do fun stuff to get press. This is a text-enabled coffee machine that I spent the first 6 months of my employment at Zipwhip making. So you send in a text and it brews you a coffee. The little arm goes down. I had to solder stuff. It was very uncomfortable, but I made it through it. We're partially owned by 2 telecom companies that you might be familiar with, AT&T and Frontier. They're also resellers of ours. So we know what we're doing in telecom. We do one thing and we do it very, very well, better than anybody else. And that's text messaging. So even if you're not interested in our platform, you have a question about short codes or how texting can help your business out, I'm the guy to answer those questions for you. What do we do in a nutshell? We connect the 200 million landline and toll-free numbers that are currently active in the US and Canada with the 330 million mobile phone numbers that can already text. Be that a flip phone, be that a feature phone, be that a smartphone, every phone out of the box has text messaging, and absolutely everyone knows how to do it. So I want to show you what we're talking about here. You're saying texting on landlines, texting on toll-free. What does that mean? So if you have a phone, and I'm sure all of you do, and I'm guessing none of you have an unread text message on your phone right now, go ahead and send in the word tickets to 844-GO-HAWKS. That's a toll-free number that we own as a company. That's 844-464-2957. Just open it up, send in the word tickets, and this is going to be using our keywords feature, and you're going to get a auto reply that bounces back automatically. What you're going to notice here is that there's no opt-in process, and there's nothing to download. You've heard probably recently about app fatigue, right? Everybody has an app, including your teams. Guess what, folks? Not a lot of people download a lot of apps. We have the core apps that we use every day. Outside of that, getting somebody to download an individual app is a laborious and expensive process. Use texting. It's easy. It's basically free. You should start to get a few bounce backs. We'll pull up our web app now, and we'll see those, and we'll reply back as well.
Perfect. So we're able to send and receive these text messages from any internet-connected device. So I'm going to show you our web-based platform, which you're looking at right here. It's extremely straightforward stuff here. So as these roll in, you can see all the different contacts on the left-hand side. And then to the right, you're going to see all those inbound and outbound text messages. A couple useful features. We have an auto reply. We realize you can't get back to people all the time. So just a simple message, thanks for texting in, we'll process your text as soon as we can. And then the keywords feature, which I'll jump into a use case here shortly. We have things like scheduled text, group text, custom signatures. That way they know who that text is coming from, which sales or service reps that's coming from, and which team it's coming from.
Switch back over on the use case slide.
Yeah. Cool. So just a couple use cases here. So we're working with both the Brooklyn Nets and the New York Islanders, as well as the San Jose Earthquakes. And then locally, we have a pilot running with the Portland Timbers on their service end of things, and the Miami Heat as well. So I'm going to start off with the Brooklyn Nets as well as the New York Islanders. And so what they've chosen to do is they'll have well-branded vanity toll-free numbers that are on their websites. It's on their newsletters. They know them. So now that call to action on their website is call or text if you have interest in purchasing season tickets, single game tickets, anything like that. And then the New York Islanders, what they've done is they've actually text-enabled 84433 aisles, and they had a big game coming up against the Rangers. They wanted people in seats. So what they did is they said, hey, they had an in-live game read, text us the word ICE to 84433 aisles for a promotional code. All those people texted in, they got a bounce back, and they got discounted tickets. That also generated a large source of leads. In just a few hours, they received a couple thousand text messages. Even one step further than that, once they opened up that channel of communication, weeks after, people were still texting that well-branded vanity toll-free number with interest for tickets. And then so on the San Jose Earthquakes, they're using it for something completely different, which I think is a really great fit, is their sales and service reps. They can now call or text a rep on their landline phone number. Every time I talk to a VP of sales and service, I ask them, are your reps texting? And they say, yeah, they're texting. And I ask them, is that on your personal cell phone, on their personal cell phones? And the answer is always yes, right? And what's the issue there? We understand that there's turnover. They jump sports teams to sports teams. It's extremely, it happens all the time. And so we want those conversations to live with a team rather than an individual, right? And we want a manager to be able to oversee all those conversations as well. That rep locks out the door, and that conversation's gone with them. So just separating that divide. Myself, I'm a season ticket holder with the Mariners. My rep will contact me on a Tuesday at 2 o'clock. I'm in the middle. I'm giving demos. I'm talking to folks. He calls me. He leaves a voicemail. I'm probably not going to listen to that voicemail. If he sends me a text that says, hey, listen, it's time for season ticket renewals, great, I can respond back to him at my own time. One step further, he sends me a link with a renewal page right in there. I tap on it, I can renew my season tickets. So it's as easy as that. Kelsey's going to just jump into a couple statistics here for us.
Yeah, these last two slides are the only things we have in terms of facts to back up our points here, but there's no surprise here, right? As a salesperson, it's really hard to get people on the phone. You make 100 phone calls, you might actually talk to 5 people. Emails are the same way. Even if your open rate's really high because you're a professional sports team, what is the response rate? It's very, very, very low. I know 1% response rate is considered pretty great for some email marketing campaigns. What we see with text messaging is that 25 to 35% of text messages are responded to on a business level. And as I mentioned earlier, you probably don't have any unread text messages in your phone. The fact is 98% of text messages are open and read within 3 minutes of receipt. It's a medium that we can't ignore any longer. Last but not least, just a couple facts here on companies that prioritize customer experience. We see that 71% of adults would like texting as a customer service option. The only problem is it hasn't been available except for the last couple of years. In this last number here, 44% of consumers would rather send a text than stay on hold for customer service. I know that's the case for me. We do have companies using texting for customer service, and what we see is high net promoter scores. Customers are happy. They want to reach out to you the way that they're comfortable with. So even if you don't like texting or you don't think that everybody would do it, we think you should be able to reach out to a professional sports team the way that you want to, and you as the team has a responsibility to those millennials, to those people that want to text, to open up that channel and allow them to reach you the way that they'd like. We'll often turn on a number for not only a pro sports team, but any business, and we'll be working on a rollout strategy with them. And we'll say, do you want us to provision this number for you before you roll it out? And they'll say, yeah, why don't you turn it on? in over a week or 2 weeks, what we'll see is that people are already trying to reach out via text message to that number because it's become so ubiquitous as a form of communication. Young people especially think that every number that they see is text enabled. So we're here to help you investigate that, see if it works for your team, and potentially start a pilot with you to see if this thing has legs. That's all we've got for Keenan Husky, and for Zipwhip, I'm Kelsey. We'll see you down at the booth. Thanks so much for having us. It's been a pleasure. I think we probably finished in about 7 minutes, so we can answer some questions. And if you have any, if you don't want to ask them in this public forum, come up to Keenan or I and ask. We also have a young little guy named Ian. He's here, and he's very knowledgeable as well.
When you did that with the Islanders, right, where you gave them a promo code if they texted in, how many people participated in that for the game to get the promo code?
Yeah, they had about 2,000 inbound text messages within about 3 hours.
And how many people you think were at the game that got that message?
Our contact at the Islanders hasn't provided us with that information.
Okay.
The process to automate that offer, sort of, can you talk through how the club would work to automate the URL and the return?
Yeah, we recommend a link shortening tool because that allows you the chance to get some analytics on it, right? You can include a long link, but it takes up space that you could use for branding and for kind of personal connection with folks. So you use something like Bitly or a Google shortener, driving them to the landing page that you want. You put it into the body of this keywords area, and then you label it, put the content in there. Keenan, if you want to click into MVP.
Yeah, we're also giving away a signed MVP Malcolm Smith football, and so that was part of our promotion to get people to stop by the booth. And so I did a little troubleshooting here. I realized that there was autocorrect going on when I typed in MVP map and MVPS came up, so I did a little troubleshooting there. That's why those are there. But anyways, tickets. It's as simple as naming that keyword. This is the body here. You can obviously, like Kelsey said, insert a URL there, preferably one that can be tracked and provide analytics as well there. So you can see your click rate and so forth.
And with toll free, we can accept any number of volumes. So if you're a huge sports team and you're publicizing this out to 70,000 people, we have the throttle rate that will accept that up to 1,000 texts a minute. So it just comes through immediately. You're not going to have a bunch of bogged down people waiting for messages. It happens pretty instantaneously. You can set up as many keywords as toll-free is really the way to go. It's something fun and unique, and the folks that we have using it now are the early adopters. We don't think in 3 to 5 years there's going to be a lot of businesses without the texting option because it's just where the industry is going. We know folks don't like to listen to voicemails or answer phone calls.
Are there any compliance regulations, like if you try to send out a credit card or something like that over that?
Yeah. The kind of the personal identify information. There's a bunch of different compliance stuff with TCPA in terms of blast messaging versus peer-to-peer communications. We offer best practices when we roll out into a pilot here. What we don't want to see is you as a sales manager getting a block of numbers and then messaging out to people that haven't reached out to you first. You'll notice that what we're doing here is pull marketing, right? We're announcing through this megaphone that sports teams have, that radio stations have, that not a lot of businesses have, that, hey, you can reach us this way now. When they reach in, you can reply back to them. What you can't do is use a list and send out a massive blast message to people that haven't opted in. We're not a marketing texting service. We're more of a peer-to-peer texting
You can't
service.
accept a credit card with this, right?
No, we wouldn't encourage you to do that. That's a great use case for a phone.
Systems integration and CRM, that sort of thing. You talked about texting into a service rep or something like that.
Sure.
Has anybody or organizations you've worked with done a good job of integrating that back into their ecosystem?
Yeah, Keenan can speak on that a little bit. We know that Dynamics and Salesforce are the main CRM platforms. We have a Chrome plugin that allows you to send a text from that CRM, whether it's Dynamics, Salesforce, Zendesk, whatever you're using, so that it does make it easy with a click of a button for your rep to reach out and get to one of his or her 5 to 10 touch points per customer per year.
And all those conversations are stored right there as well. So once you click on that little Zipwhip icon next to their phone number, that conversation pops up, everything's logged. You can see all that back and forth. It's all stamped with the date and time. We're currently in the middle of a Salesforce integration. We're in beta with a Salesforce integration. But kind of what we see here currently, worst case scenario, that conversation lives on the individual cell phone. Next space, it lives here with Zipwhip, with us at Zipwhip, with that Chrome extension as well. Best case scenario, we're fully integrated into CRM. So, Salesforce is obviously a very large CRM. That's number one on the list, and then to follow is Dynamics.
And you have the ability to oversee everybody's text messages as well, and all of the different active numbers in what we call a switchboard. You log into switchboard.zipwhip.com. It has all 10, 15, 20 numbers. A little circle with a number of unread text messages is right there. So you can click in and see how many messages are unread, see how long they've been unread, and say, hey, Jim or Jane, you need to reply back to this person. They've been waiting for 15 minutes. So you have the ability to have that global oversight.
And then, of course, we go ahead. Sorry.
What about international numbers other than US and Canada?
Good question. Right now, we see there's different, based on the carriers outside of these +1 areas, which are US and Canada. It usually works, but we don't guarantee it. We don't text enable numbers outside of those two regions. So 9 times out of 10, it shows up and you're able to reply back. But because of the different agreements the carriers have overseas, we can't guarantee it, so we don't really promote it that much.
So, but what about if I've got an Australian number? So I just text you then and it works, or sorry, come up on the screen.
Yeah.
But if I want an Australian number to text to?
Yeah, so you couldn't have, if it was an Australian number, we couldn't text enable it.
How do you go about completing the sale? So somebody, you say they'll be with you shortly and the rep's texting and back and forth. How do you then go to complete the sale with that person through a text? Is there any way with that, or it ends up then being a live conversation?
Yeah, I think what happens is this is a good way to, what we see in our own sales process internally is that we have this high level stuff where we call and we set a demo, and then once we do that demo, we build that, excuse me, that relationship, and then there tends to be more and more touch points, so it's kind of, by the end, it's this back and forth. We think this helps get those quick questions answered, and then when it's time to actually provide a credit card or actually sign up, we think the phone's a good option for that. Or linking people over, as Keenan said earlier in the demonstration. It's not a kind of A to Z solution. It helps you kind of get to that finish line.
And then kind of to tie into that as well, so for an example, when we're working with the folks over at the Barclays Center, what that happens is when they clicked on that link, it gave them that actionable promo code, and then they were able to purchase the tickets right then and there.
Through going through it and through the web?
Right, exactly
Yeah.
right. And then we're also working on it's close to completion, a SMS generator essentially. So on your guys' mobile phones, on your websites, if the action click to text essentially, right? So you click on that button and it auto-populates, hey, I'm interested in season tickets, and then you hit send and it sends it out to a rep. It's a one-step process. You tap it, you hit send, and then it goes straight to a rep.
Rather than when you search for a local restaurant here in Portland and town, it'll have the directions, it has the website, and it has call. We built out a text option as well. That works with the native messaging app on the person's phone.
Do you plan eventually to keep all of that within your variable environment and then collect payment as well?
Yeah, the payment collection is difficult just because of the regulatory issues around it.
CI compliance and that.
Yeah, so we kind of want to live inside of the CRM that the sports team has, and we want to get people to that point of sale area. If we've helped with texting to get the person to the point of sale to where they're going to actually complete the purchase, we think our job is done. But in terms of storing the information or anything like that, that probably would be a good fit for us.
So where do you drive them to? Like, do you drive them to their channel partners? Are you driving them to their ticket center?
Their ticket center generally, whatever landing page they want to push people to. Hopefully it's a mobile optimized site.
Sure, it has to be.
Yeah.
Are you partnered in, so once they start texting in,
Mm-hmm.
how do they opt in? So if you want to send them future, we have a text alert system that we send stuff out and push
Yeah.
content out.
Yeah.
How do you match into that? So we use a different company to do that.
Yeah.
How do you kind of gather that data and then be able to, send messages out?
Right, and those are great, and that's an organizational decision for you. That's probably through a short code. And what we found is that some people just like to use short codes. They like to mark it out, and they think it's really great to have this text club that I'm really interested in deals, so I get the short code alert. Some people just use us. They think the peer-to-peer thing's the way to go, and some people use both. There's no one-stop shop option there for you. The short codes have certain options that we don't have, whereas we can use the existing numbers and they can't do that. So we don't necessarily tie in. We would try and keep those separate, just because if I text in about tickets and then I have a relationship with